Okay, I think we're ready to kick off. Welcome everybody to today's EnergyLab Scaleup Program Showcase. My name is Megan Fisher. I'm the CEO of EnergyLab and your MC for today. So thanks for joining. Let's get started. We've got lots to pack into the next hour. So firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands on which we are meeting today. I'm on the lands of the Wurundjeri people, and I wish to acknowledge them as the traditional owners. I would also like to pay my respects to the elders past and present, and any Aboriginal elders of other communities that are joining us today. So today we're using Zoom webinar. In case you're not aware, you can drag the slider over to the left or right to make the presenter's face a little bit easier to see. So feel free to do that. And also feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. We'll also be using the Q&A function today to ask our startups that are joining us today questions. So we've had the pleasure of running the Scaleup program for the third time this year. We've had new partners on board alongside our existing partners and 11 of the best late stage startups from around the world, and an ever evolving, and it's all fitting in an ever evolving energy landscape to contend with as well. Today, you will learn more about the Scaleup program, hear from one of our Scaleup partners, and then from our fantastic cohort, including the opportunity to engage with them as we do some Q&A sessions. So if you're new to the EnergyLab community, firstly, a big welcome to you. Thank you for joining us today. We kicked off in 2017 with a mission to help reach net zero by accelerating the growth of clean energy and climate tech startups. We run a range of acceleration programs from ideation through to scale up that support founders and startups. And well over 200 aspiring entrepreneurs and startups have graduated from our programs to date. To support startups and entrepreneurs to grow, we bring together our ecosystem of mentors, partners, and investors. We have an amazing network of over 300 mentors that are successful entrepreneurs themselves. They might be industry experts or hold other expertise that's really relevant to supporting startups. We work with fantastic partners in government and in industry to help build potential client relationships for startups and to help get those really early projects launched. And we have relationships with the key investors in climate tech to help startups access the funding that they need to help them grow. The Scaleup program, which is what today's all about, brings together leading energy companies and groundbreaking clean energy startups. For our Scaleup program partners, the program offers a structured way to explore collaboration with startups that align with their strategic areas of focus. They get visibility of the best local and global startups and see the most innovative technologies and business solutions developing in the startup ecosystem. So this year, we've had the pleasure to work with 3 major partners: Amber Electric, Endeavour Energy, and Transgrid. Amber Electric are a new exciting addition to our partner group this year, but they're also EnergyLab alumni, having been through one of our accelerators back in 2018, so it's been amazing to have them on board. To kick off today's event, I'd like to welcome Daphne from Lumea to join me on the stage. So Daphne is the General Manager for Innovation and New Ventures at Lumea. As part of the Transgrid group, Lumea is Australia's leading infrastructure and energy services provider, connecting more renewable assets to Australia's energy market than anyone else. So Daphne and the team have been working with us on the Scaleup program for the past 2 years running to support Transgrid and Lumea's innovation mandate. And prior to Transgrid and Endeavour, Daphne was the EGM of Transformation and Digital Strategy at Ausgrid and held senior roles at OVO. So before I hand over to Daphne, I really wanted to thank Transgrid and Lumea for being one of our program sponsors for 2022. It's greatly appreciated. And welcome to today's showcase, Daphne. It's great to have you here. I will hand it over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Megan. I hope everyone can hear me. Apologies, I had to join on my phone. Thank you so much, Megan, for that kind introduction. And it's great to be joining Energy Labs again for another year for this excellent program. Like many of you here today, I'm really excited to see this cohort showcase and see everyone's progress and achievements. We've been proud of EnergyLab for the last couple of years, because we really share this mission with Energy Labs in transforming our energy system, and we know how important it is that the new technology that we need to accelerate that transformation. As Megan mentioned, Lumea is part of Transgrid Group, which also owns Transgrid, the main transmission operator in Australia. But Lumea itself, as Megan mentioned, we've connected more renewable assets to the grid than anyone else. So far, it's 8 gigawatts, which is equivalent to about powering 4 million homes. And we've got another 10 gigawatts under construction or under contract. And we've got even bigger ambitions to grow, because in parallel with connecting renewable generation, we're really starting to look at the demand side as well. So for commercial, industrial, and increasing digital businesses, we want to help our customers electrify their operations and achieve their net zero goals. And we really want to, we believe that we can help customers deliver greener, a cheaper and more reliable energy in the long run, so that customers are ultimately, and businesses are ultimately, not just net zero, but potentially net positive. But to do all of that and to achieve our ambitions, we need everyone's help. We need to think of radically different solutions to meet some of the challenges that we face in the transformation, which I know all of you are all too aware of. Just a couple of other areas that we look very seriously into is long duration storage to really help maximize the investment in intermittent renewable generation. And we're also extremely interested in virtual network services to take over as coal generators start to retire. So, above all, we need communities just like this, just like Energy Labs, to collaborate, ideate, and succeed in our collective mission. So congratulations to Megan, Akhil, and the team for running this fantastic program, this fantastic initiative. And thank you to all the supporters and contributors for making the program a success. And I'll hand back now so that we can begin the showcase. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Daphne. It's been great to have you here today. Really very much appreciate it. Our major partners are joined in the Scaleup program by our innovation partners, and we are thrilled to have all of our partners on board this year. And we thank them really very much for their engagement. It's a really important part of the program that we have them involved. Now, for our startup cohort, the Scaleup program is really, truly an efficient, engaging, and value-packed way for them to continue their growth journeys. We support the founders to build the commercial relationships with our program partners. They meet and receive feedback from Australia's most active clean tech investors, and we introduce them to that incredible mentor network who come in and present key topics during the program, or they are allocated one-to-one mentoring sessions to help them along the way. The startups also, really importantly, build relationships with one another. And that's where we can see amazing collaborations occur, which is always really exciting. So overall, through the program, we aim to provide the startups the knowledge, connections, and the support that they really need to scale. So now I'm really excited to share with you the 2022 Scaleup Program cohort. So since March this year, they've all put in significant effort towards growing their businesses in Australia. So this year, we've got 11 startups in the cohort: Amber Kinetics, BIA, Encored, Enging, EV.energy, The Good Car Company, Ionate, IoTTE, Pix Force, Village Energy, and Voltaware. All incredible. There's little short descriptions there for you to look at to get a bit of an idea of what they're all about. So this amazing group of startups from across the world with technologies that are transforming the energy industry has just been involved in this program all year. It's just been incredible. So let's get to know them a little better. So we've grouped the startups into 3 themes for today's session based on the technologies and the business models that they offer. So these 3 themes are consumer participation, network innovation, and future grids, which is the structure that we'll use as we progress through the rest of today's showcase. So you'll have the opportunity to ask the startups questions. So use that Q&A tab to ask those questions. Ask them at any time throughout the showcase. And in the dedicated sections that we've got for Q&A, we'll pick up as many of those questions as we can. If there's a particular founder, startup, theme that you'd like to answer that question, make sure that you mention that too. So our first group, the consumer participation group of startups, we have EV.energy, The Good Car Co, Village Energy, and Voltaware. And they're all developing products for consumers and energy companies alike that enhance the consumer's ability to participate in the energy transition. So with technologies like home solar, batteries, smart devices, and soon bidirectional EV charging, all playing roles in homes and businesses, helping consumers understand their energy options and empowering them to participate and get the best returns for their own assets is really, really important. So first up, we've got Nick Woolley, the founder and CEO of EV.energy, who are looking to provide cheaper and greener and simpler electric vehicle charging for everyone. Hi, Nick. Great to have you here. I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Megan. So let me give you a quick introduction to EV.energy. As you say, our mission is to deliver simpler, cheaper, and greener electric vehicle charging for everyone. But why is that needed and why is that important? Well, the problem we solve is that most electric vehicle owners come home from work and they plug in their cars immediately as they come home and they start charging immediately. And that unfortunately coincides with the natural peak in energy consumption on the electricity grid. And that creates havoc for electricity companies and the grid to be able to manage this unmanaged charging. Peak charging is expensive. It's also paradoxically high carbon, and it's hard for energy networks to manage alongside their natural peak in demand, which of course occurs in the early evening. And so at EV.energy, what we do is we solve all of those three issues by aligning EV charging with off-peak hours, reducing load, and offering drivers a premium charging solution to simplify their electric vehicle charging experience. Our solution has three key components. We have a software platform that connects to energy markets. We have APIs that integrate to a vehicle or a charger to enable us to be able to control electric vehicle charging. And we have a highly rated app that simplifies charging at home and outside of the home too. We've also, in the Australian market, particularly relevant, we've rolled out a solar matching product that enables drivers to charge from their home solar, generated energy, and top up with the cleanest energy from the grid if they're to help them to save money too. Our business model is to license our software in partnership with energy companies. We've been going for about 4 years. We've got almost 100,000 drivers on our platform now, working across the UK, USA, Europe, and of course Australia. And our solution is being used by 30 energy and charger companies. So I guess the takeaway for me is, like, if you share our mission to make electric vehicle charging simpler, greener, and cheaper, we'd be delighted to discuss that with you more.
Fantastic, Nick. Great to see you again. I've been following EV.energy closely for the last few years, so it's great to have you here. So next we have Anthony Bruvan-Bruno, who's the co-founder and director of The Good Car Company. Welcome, Anthony. The Good Car Co is an affordable electric vehicle marketplace with a mission to decarbonise transport and energy. We're excited to welcome the Good Car Co team back to EnergyLab because they've been alumni of 2 of our previous programs. So Anthony, over to you to tell us a little bit more. I'm not sure if your head is right in the center of the camera right now, or it might just be me.
Does that work?
I'm missing the top of your eyeballs.
Top of my eyeballs. Okay.
There you are. Hi.
Hi. Fantastic. Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here, and like Megan said, we've come through initially it's 3. We went through the hackathon, the incubator program, the accelerator program, and now the scale up, and it's been an amazing journey for us. Going through this scale up program, we've met some amazing partners and other participating businesses, and we've been successful in raising $11 million whilst being in this program. We're now doing a partnership with Boundless Earth, so Mike Cannon-Brooks and one of the founders of Canva, which is fantastic. Basically, why we're here is just to decarbonise transport and energy. No little feat, but we're doing it by a lot of community engagement. We also had to build our own custom supply chain dealer management systems, fleet management systems, and partnerships with other OEMs. We've had some really fortunate connections with government and industries, and we've been successfully able to lobby for a lot of policy change. And we've run dozens of electric vehicle bulk buys throughout the communities, throughout all over Australia. That's a nice picture in the background of our first one that we did here in Tasmania. And throughout COVID, flooding and fires, we've delivered over 500 vehicles, which is kind of cool. It made us build our systems online and deliver in a much smoother way. Basically, we're just trying to do everything we can to make EVs, one, supply more vehicles into the market, expand our marketplace, which is all the complementary things that go along with chargers and energy subscriptions and solar and batteries, and being able to decarbonise home and transport. And importantly, building the movement so that we one, have people that are ambassadors for electric vehicles, which I think is the most important way that we're going to see this mass uptake and adoption. It's as you see your neighbors driving an electric car, all of a sudden it's not a scary technology. But the most important thing within that is being able to engage with people so that we can then deploy the next parts of the business, which is being able to orchestrate and aggregate those big batteries on wheels to support more renewables in the system. Trust is a massive component of that, and fortunately we've been really lucky to build these partnerships with a lot of trusted entities from grassroots level all the way up to big corporates. And now we're looking at working with energy retailers and utilities to be able to really effectively deploy gigawatts of dispatchable power through these batteries on wheels. So that's basically it. We've done a few battery replacements on the EVs and looking at being able to do our own battery assembly and manufacturing here in Australia as well, which is fantastic. It's so much potential with electric vehicles. I really love them, and I think a lot of people really love them, and it has so much more potential than any other climate technology out there, in that it really resonates with people emotionally. So we're pushing.
Thanks, Anthony.
Cool.
It's been absolutely amazing. Yeah, I can't wait to see more of your vehicles in the hands of consumers all over Australia. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now I want to welcome Yvonne Power, who's the co-founder and COO at Village Energy. Hey, Yvonne. Village Energy connects the billions of household energy assets to the energy system in a way that works, which is super important. So let's hear more from Yvonne.
Thanks, Megan. So we all know that electricity grids around the world are changing. Utilities obviously used to produce all the energy and send it one way through the grid, but now households have a growing role to play as consumers, producers and storers of energy. And by 2040, there's going to be billions of household energy assets connecting to the grid and using and producing and storing energy in different ways. And utilities need the capacity to be able to manage those billions of customer-owned assets. So that's where Village Energy comes in. So you can flick to the next slide, and Village Energy is providing effectively a solution to that problem. So we offer a way to manage growing grid complexity by connecting these household energy assets to the grid in a way that works. We provide our solution to utilities, who in turn make it available to their customers. So we create value for utilities, we save money for households, and we enable the grid to accommodate more renewable energy as well. And we have a software platform that leverages AI and IoT to deliver automatic and real-time control. And we give household customers a mobile app, which obviously gives them a simple and frictionless customer experience, as well as ways for the utility to be able to offer their customers more choice or new ways to save on energy spend. We're a SaaS-based business, so the utilities pay a monthly platform fee for each household, and then we can supplement that with optional devices or services, and they're bundled up based on the utilities' needs and the needs of their customers. We've got projects and utility customers in Australia, India, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Cambodia. And our initial addressable market is estimated at about $15 billion US. So yeah, that's us in a nutshell. So thank you, and please do get in touch with us if you'd like to learn more about what Village Energy does.
Fabulous. Thank you very much for that, Yvonne. Next joining us, we've got Sergey Arogyanov. And Sergey joins us from Voltaware. He's the CEO. So they offer a white label energy insights platform to drive engagement with consumers and unlock new revenues for utility energy companies. All yours, Sergey.
Thank you very much, Megan. Hi, everyone. I'm Sergey, and I'm the founder and CEO of Voltaware. So I have founded Voltaware to actually empower the customers, residential customers mainly, on their energy use, to help them gain the visibility they deserve and to reduce their energy bills. At Voltaware, we have created what we call in the jargon, energy disaggregation algorithm, which essentially breaks down the home electrical consumption down to each of your home appliances in real time. We then use that knowledge to create a range of advanced use cases to engage customers in the long run, such as energy efficiency, predictive maintenance, safety and security, and even elderly monitoring. So we get data from electrical smart meters or from our own credit card size sensors, which can be installed in only 5 minutes due to non-intrusivity of installation. We deploy our tech with white label through utilities, banks, telecoms, and any other companies looking to address their customer needs. Our main customers include NLX, Octopus Energy, BP, Enging, and many other big companies in the world. So please free to get in touch if you want to discuss further.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Sergey. That's really exciting, and some really big customers you've got going there as well. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you to the teams from EV.energy, The Good Carco, Village Energy, and Voltaware for all of your time on the program. So come and join me back on stage. We'll have a bit of Q&A. So for our audience, this is your time to ask those questions. So please feel free to put them in the Q&A, but I'll kick us off a little bit. Feel free to just put your hand up and answer. So I'm really interested in finding out your opinions on some of the biggest challenges you think the consumers are going to face as we transition to the new world of energy. Who would like to go first?
I'm happy to go first if you like.
Go for it, Yvonne.
And grab the mic. I think from a consumer perspective, they don't really want to think too much about energy. I think they're reasonably apathetic. I think they're purchasing a lot of the assets that will have a really big role to play in helping the grid transition and decarbonise. But really, I think it's a dual-sided problem. So utilities really need to come up with solutions that consumers really want, but are really simple, obviously don't interfere with them in terms of their convenience or comfort, and allow them to do things in a way that it's effectively just set and forget. So I think from a customer's perspective, you know, there's going to be lots of opportunities in the future to use their appliances and assets in different ways, but it's really up to the utilities and the industry to come up with ways to connect with those customers in an engaging way that they're actually going to want to participate.
Thanks, Yvonne. Any of the other panelists want to join in on that question?
Yeah,
what do you think the biggest
to...
challenges are? Thanks, Sergey.
Yeah, I think the challenges are that the customers, when they get the total bill, normally they don't understand where it's coming from. So this is where, you know, you need help, because different people have different problems. Someone forgot to switch off the immersion heater from the winter. Someone has an efficient fridge, etc. So you need to show, to make them powerful, you know, and to make them powerful, you need to show something underneath, like, okay, where the consumption is going, really, and then they connect once they know it. So I have a question from someone here. So should I answer right now, you think?
That's okay. We'll keep going through this question and we'll jump onto the Q&A in a minute. Anthony or Nick, did you want to add in on that? Or otherwise, Nick, you've got a couple of questions sitting in there in the Q&A.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Yvonne pretty much nailed it. I think for consumers, a lot of the new assets that are being rolled out are entirely new. So like when you look at EVs, they're entirely new as a you have to figure out how to recharge your EV. You're no longer going to go to the gas or petrol station. And so there is a big transition for consumers to make, but I think consumers don't really want to think about energy all that much, but they want to know that they're doing the right thing. They're charging with as much renewable energy as possible, and they're doing the right thing for the grid to help support the wider society. And so I guess our role as startups is to try and deliver solutions that are super simple and straightforward so that consumers don't have to think, but then do a whole ton of smart stuff on the other side to help the energy companies to make best use of all of these new technologies as they're rolled out.
Thanks, Nick. And I'll stick with you, actually. So I've got a question from Peter Hansford. Could Nick please explain how his system provides cheaper, greener and easier charging, and where these charges are targeted? I'm assuming there's a G missing there, e.g. home fleet or general public. It's a big question.
Yes. So I'll try and answer that. So our the way that we think about working with electric vehicle consumers is when you transition to an electric vehicle and you buy an electric vehicle, the number one problem you have to solve is how are you going to recharge that electric vehicle? As I say, it's different to obviously owning an internal combustion engine vehicle. And when you do that, you then think about, well, I need to recharge it at home, and so I need to get a home charger. And so a lot of our focus starts in the home, because the home is where there is a huge amount of the car is parked for a long period of time, and that generates a huge opportunity for flexibility to be able to control and manage that charging to meet the grid's requirements. So we solve the problem at the point of purchase. We attach our software against like a charger manufacturer that goes into the home. We then start engaging with that customer. We optimize it with, say, solar panels to make it greener. We optimize it with grid energy to ensure that we're doing it at the right times for the grid. And then hopefully we also get that user, because the next thing you think about after home charging is away from home charging and how are you going to charge on the road. And in several countries, we've got partnerships with away from home charging networks too. They enable us to be able to simplify the journey. So if they wanted to go from Melbourne to Sydney, that they could do that, and they could access public infrastructure in a very simple and straightforward way, which is of course a big headache for users.
Oh, thanks, Nick. Sorry to cut you off there. Anthony, we've got a question for you. David missed the first part of your presentation, which is fine, David. Glad that you could join. Did you mention, the question is about two-way charging in electric vehicles, Anthony?
Yes, the main reason why we are doing what we're doing is to try and make effective use of those big batteries. And obviously bidirectional charging is limited at the moment to those that have the DC CHAdeMO protocol. So every single vehicle that we import from Japan is already mandated to have that. And we've tested on 3 different bidirectional charging devices at the moment. Only one has been certified for Australian safety standards. But we're definitely looking at the effective utilization of that and packaging it together, and just mainly the messaging right now so that people understand the potential of those assets that they've got.
Fantastic. Thank you, Anthony, and thank you very much to Sergey, Nick, Anthony, and Yvonne for that very speedy, quick Q&A session that flew by. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to move on to our next session now. So now we've got the Network Innovation Group joining us. So we've got Amber Kinetics, BIA, and IoTTE. And they're all producing a range of technologies that will be important to our networks. So new services and new capabilities are a key part of the transformation of the energy system. And these 3 startups have developed some awesome technologies to add to tomorrow's network offerings, such as energy storage, clever communication capabilities, and EV to grid services. So first up, we have Thomas Alsperman, the president and COO of Amber Kinetics, who are producing the next frontier in energy storage. Hi, Thomas. I'm going to leave it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Amber Kinetics is an energy storage company. In Amber Kinetics, we have developed a new kinetic energy storage solution using flywheel technology. If we go to the next slide. Here in the picture, you can see the flywheel. The flywheel is basically a solid steel rotor inside of a steel shell. In the shell, we are maintaining a vacuum to eliminate the air drag, and the steel rotor is levitating on a magnetic field, significantly reducing mechanical friction. Once the rotor is spun up to 150 Hertz, or the equivalent of 9,000 repetitions per minute, the flywheel can store energy for more than 2 weeks in the self-power mode, as we call it. The M32 is our first commercial flywheel model. It can store 32 kilowatt hours of energy and dispatch 8 kilowatts of power over a period of 4 hours. The solution is fully scalable up into the megawatt range. The flywheel can perform multiple charge and discharge cycles per day without any degradation in performance during the entire service life, which is up to 30 years or the equivalent of 11,000 cycles. Our flywheels are designed for harsh environment, and being a mechanical solution, it's absolutely fire hazard free. 93% of the flywheel is made out of steel. After the service life, the steel can easily be recycled, making it a very sustainable energy storage solution. On the next slide, our contacts in Australia is our director, Michael Hayward. So in case of any inquiry or question, please reach out to Michael, or also visit our website, amberkinetics.com. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for that, Thomas. And next we have Candace Saffery-Newfold, the founder and CEO of BEA. So BEA are developing smart EV charging platform featuring high-performing forecasting algorithms and a powerful optimization engine to intelligently manage, predict, and optimize EV charging. So it's great to have you here, Candace. Over to you to tell us more about BEA.
Thank you. Well, BEA was born out of the realization that in order to achieve a carbon neutral future in energy and in mobility, we need to really create a dynamic interoperation, communications and platforms between electric vehicle charging and grid reliability. So the big picture for BEA was always to be in this mix between what's happening on the mobility side and what's happening on the transition on the energy side. We took a really close look at unmanaged electric vehicle charging and found what most people here have found is that it's almost always following peak loads. It's expensive, it causes volatility and congestion, it causes premature battery degradation, and it even increases demand for non-renewable energy. So at BEA, we've developed a proprietary software platform that enables comprehensive EV load monitoring, forecasting, and optimization. And within this, we really have two core services. The first one's really around data management. And within data management, we have hardware agnostic charge monitoring. We find that almost all of our customers, we work mostly with electric vehicle fleets and multi-use parking sites. So almost all of them have more than one brand of chargers. And right away, they're not able to look at different load metrics, control charging efficiently, and even understand their overall energy costs from charging. We also, within data management, have simulation tools where we can help our customers understand how their EV loads are going to grow and change over time. And we also have, we build models for EV load flexibility forecasts. So we really look at everything from the charging data through to aggregated loads and forecasts for load flexibility. Then our real-time application is around optimization. And with optimization, we can deliver charge control directly through the charger or the vehicle in a way that saves money, delivers a more sustainable charge, and actually provides grid services such as demand response. Our core customers today are really electric fleets and multi-use charging sites. We see here that they struggle the most with data management, with priority charging, and unnecessary infrastructure costs and unnecessary energy costs. We work with one of our electric bus fleets that we worked with had an individual who was actually part of his job was to plug in and unplug buses during the night to manage so that the right buses were ready at the right time. So our system really works not just by monitoring and controlling charge, but ensuring the right vehicles are ready at the right time for these essential services. Our system is all cloud-based and delivered via API. We also work with energy companies in Europe right now to deliver flexibility services from EV charging and from EV charging flexibility. And our hope is to expand into the Australian market in the next 12 months.
Fabulous.
So thanks so much for listening. Hope that we can continue the conversation.
Thank you so much for that, Candace. Great to see you. Okay, next up we have Key Lee, the founder and CEO of IoTTE. They are a company developing purpose-built, reliable and robust IoT data links for smart energy and for smart cities. So welcome, Key. Tell us more about IoTTE. Oh, it looks like Key has dropped off. He might be having a technical difficulty. We'll see if we can bring him back on board later. We're actually in time for our next panel, which might be a smaller panel, I think, if we can't get Key back on board. So let's bring back the team from Amber Kinetics and Bia, and we'll get a chance to ask them some questions on the stage. So Candice and Thomas, great to have you back here. So we've actually got some questions there, but for me, I'd be really interested in, for both of you, like, what's been the biggest challenge that you've seen entering the Australian marketplace?
Well, I can start. Let's say, first of all, I think we actually intentionally went for the Australian market because, first of all, for us, it's the biggest behind-the-meter market and has the least, let's say, a kind of burden of regulation, right? So, challenges are clearly, let's say, you have to be Australian certified. I think one of the questions was also towards if our equipment is Australia AS certified. Yes, it is, right? And it's not only the flywheel, but the entire solution, including inverters and so on.
Fantastic. I'm glad you answered that question too. What about you, Candice? What about some challenges or interesting observations entering the Australian market?
So I think for us, it's we're really positioned as a B2B backend intelligence layer. So on one hand, we have a whole customer segment that is within the utility space, which we've spoken with through this program. But often our first stop is when we want to start getting capacity on the edge, and we want to speak with and work with the electric bus systems and work with the waste management fleets and work with corporate groups that have electric vehicle fleets or delivery fleets. And that's where I think it's really network developed. What we've seen success in Europe is working through tender processes and going as part of a consortium into responding to tenders. And so this really requires actual network, actual business development, and meeting the right people who are in a similar space, but need additional software for tools. So I think it's about building network and about building finding these opportunities. It's, sometimes Australia feels a little far away when we're trying to get in the tender response in a couple of days, So I think a part of it is just like finding those partnerships and getting those really developed. And then I think we can develop some deeper relationships to be able to engage directly in the charging environment there.
Thank you very much for that, Candice. We might leave it there and move on to our next group. Feel free, if there's some questions in the chat, you can certainly just type in some answers as well as we go through. Okay, for our next group of startups today, it's around the theme of future grids. So we have Encored, Ionate and Pix Force. With our grids getting more complex each day through the introduction of renewables, DER, new loads such as EVs, operating a robust grid is more important than ever. So with the help of the technology on offer from our Future Grids group, there are more options available to increase that capability of the grid to be able to handle those new challenges. So first up today, we have Carlo Brancuti, founder and CEO of Encored, who are developing a platform to help energy stakeholders plan for the energy transition. Hi, Carlo, over to you.
Hi, Megan. And first of all, thank you, Megan, and thank you, Akil, for the opportunity to participate in the EnergyLab Scaleup program. It has been a very fantastic experience. Awesome. So Encored is a software company, and we help energy stakeholders inform operational and strategic planning decisions. As you all know, governments, utilities, and corporations globally are pledging to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. And planning for decarbonization is hard, and it requires the integration and coordination of energy networks that have traditionally been planned and operated independently. Our solution is SAINT, the Scenario Analysis Interface for Energy Systems, an integrating planning platform to model and plan electricity, gas, and thermal networks. We work with a wide range of energy companies across 10 countries, and we look forward to helping Australian decision makers plan for their energy transition. I'll be happy to answer any question you may have later on, and thank you all for your attention.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Carlo. Next up, we've got Marco Ferreira, the founder and CEO of Enging, a team I've had the pleasure of working with before I joined EnergyLab. Hey, Marco, how you doing?
Hey, Megan, thanks for the intro. Good afternoon to all. And let's start the presentation of Enging. Enging is an innovative provider of asset condition monitoring solutions for electric industrial assets. The next slide. Our solution, based on an electric approach and a deterministic algorithm, presents the capacity to pinpoint degradations in rotating machines, transformers, and power electronics, like solar inverters, for example. We can detect these degradations several months before it becomes a catastrophic fault, only using electrical variables and with a non-invasive technique. The main goals of our solution are to provide to our customers real-time and actionable insights about the operational conditions of their assets in order to optimize its performance and to maximize its lifespan. With more 10 gigawatts monitored, actually, we offer to the market the possibility to increase the detection of future potential faults, about 80%, the reduction of maintenance costs, about 25%, the reduction of unplanned downtime, about 70%, and the reduction of energy waste, about 15%. And if you want to know more about us, please contact us through the details in this slide. And of course, we are available to answer to any question in this meeting. Passing the word to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Marco. We now have Matthew Williams, the founder and CEO of Ionate, who are transforming power through fundamental control innovation. Truly exciting stuff. So Matthew launched Ionate in the UK, but is from Queensland. You'll be able to tell that. So we're excited to see him bring his awesome technology back to Australia. So Matthew, welcome, and over to you.
Thanks, Megan. So at Ionate, we've developed our hardware-software innovation for the electricity system. So we know that energy transitions bring major changes to power flows, and the power systems are going to need two things. We're going to need more visibility to see what's happening inside the grid, and instantaneous power flow control in order to keep the lights on. And that's exactly what we do. So our hardware innovation is the hybrid intelligent transformer. It replaces transformers within the distribution grid, providing real-time data and all the control capabilities needed. And we can do this much more reliably and affordably than others, thanks to our innovative design controlling power in the magnetic domain. The result's a single Ionate device that replaces the need to add multiple expensive and fragile devices onto the grid. But what's really cool is when you have multiple ones within the system, using our software platform, we can coordinate and control them to optimize network operations. This way, we increase the amount of DERs like rooftop PV and EVs connected to the grid. We get more electricity through the system and we reduce losses. And we can use this control to balance the system and provide flexibility services. So our fundamental tech is universal. So we're working with distribution grids, of course, but also renewable generation and storage, providing their grid connection, reducing costs and improving productivity for each. Because ultimately, Ionate's an enabler, lays the foundation for a flexible, decentralized, plug-and-play energy platform of the future. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that, Matthew. It's great to have you joining us today. And for our last startup of the day, but certainly not the least startup of the day, we've got Renato Gomez, who's the founder and president of Pix Force, joining us. Welcome, Renato. It's great to have you here. Over to you.
Lovely. Thank you, everyone. And moving straight into my slides here. Basically, what Pixforce does is we're based out of Brazil, and we teach computers how to interpret digital images. So Akhil, the challenge is something that anyone in the electric utility sector knows well. The inspection of different assets for the transmission of energy, the generation of energies, which is something, of course, essential, but it doesn't come at a low price. It's not something that is perfect. We know that accidents do happen. And of course, above all, the human accidents, which are something that in today's world is just unacceptable. So what is our solution? Akhil? Our solution is really about bringing together different types of energy sources, be it satellites, drones, or array of cameras fixed on vehicles. And these aren't only for images that we see with the naked eye. So we work with LiDAR, we work with radar, and radar, very importantly, based from satellites. So what's called synthetic aperture radar. So being based in Brazil, you can imagine the cloud coverage. That doesn't always allow you to inspect the long distances and see how trees are grown alongside transmission lines. So these radar images are vital. The intelligence, what we provide is really the processing of those images. So we don't really care who is acquiring those images. We interpret them and put them on a platform where our clients can visualize everything in one single place, which brings much more safety to the process, much higher precision and something replicable, and of course, much faster and more cheaper than what current systems can do. So we knew we can deliver that solution. So Akhil, thank you. Because of what we've been able to do, starting from the top in the mining and steelmaking sector. At the middle, you see some of our clients in the oil and gas sector. And below, you see 8 of our clients in the energy sectors. In Brazil, some of these are multinationals working in our country, but it gives us the confidence that the technology that we've been deploying locally is something that we will be able to deploy to Australia, a country which has continental dimensions and similar challenges when it comes to nature for the maintenance and inspection of these assets. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Renato. That's just amazing technology, truly digitizing some things that did not used to be done in that way in the energy utilities. It was fantastic to see. Now we actually have Key Lee, the founder and CEO of IoTTE, joining us. Thank you, Key, for joining us. Sorry that you dropped off before. So IoTTE are developing purpose-built, reliable and robust IoT links. So Key, over to you.
Thank you. This is Key Lee from IoTTE. We built an unbelievably very long-range IoT communication and IoT service platform for smart energy and smart city. Therefore, this allows us to save cost dramatically for CapEx and OpEx to manage a large number of devices and infrastructure when you deploy. Our powerful non-line of sight IoT communication robustly overcome hard-to-reach communication shadow area despite weak signal, interference, congestion, latency, and ongoing obstacles where other communication technologies are currently struggling, like underground, high-density city, wide coastal area, and far remote area that we can connect anything, anywhere. We send data much further. We collect data much faster. We execute the command control for emergency asset control much quicker. And we locate the devices much precisely within sub-inch distance for reliability, accuracy, and safety. Our GeoLinks is a purpose-built and customizable full end-to-end IoT communication platform for much competitive service and operation. We truly built next generation of IoT communication for smart utility and smart city. We are here to change the smart industry today and tomorrow with you for innovation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Key. That was fantastic. Now we're up to our last Q&A session with the startup. So if you've got any questions for Key, for the Encored team, for Enging, Ionate, or Pix Force, please pop them in the Q&A session so that we can get to them for you. Now, for all of you here, you've all got such an incredible experience working around the world on different grids. What do you think Australia could learn from some of the other markets? Who would like to have a go at that? Carlo, I might hand over to you.
Thank you, Megan. I'm not sure about what Australia could learn from other grids in terms of the future of grids, but definitely something that Australia, like any other region in the world, can start doing more is planning across different areas, such as transmission and distribution, such as electricity and gas, such as generation, storage, and demand. A lot of planning has been done in a siloed way, and I believe more integrated and coordinated planning is absolutely necessary to achieve the very challenging and ambitious decarbonization goals that many of us have.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Carlo. Matthew, what about you? You know the Australian market and you're in the UK. What do you think that Australia could learn from some of the other grids that you've seen around the world?
Yeah, we've been working with grids across, UK, Europe, and North America, and certainly a consistent thing across most geographies is needing to be open to new ideas across both policy and technology. And Australia is certainly towards the front of the pack in this way. But one of the things that we've seen is that often places will make decisions, particularly on technology, without looking at the bigger kind of systems level picture. And taking that approach and trying to deal with issues faced today without considering, the way that we're going to deal with things in 10 or 20 years' time is just a real recipe for lots of pain and huge cost in the future.
Fantastic, thank you. And Renato, what about you? You obviously look at it from a slightly different angle, really helping the grids to maintain and keep running. What do you think, Australia, we could learn here?
I think in this case specifically, the conciliation between nature and avoiding forest fires and its interference in the grid, as you know, unfortunately, Brazil has also faced its shares of forest fires. We know in Australia it's a bit more bushfires. But one thing that you probably have not heard is blackouts caused by such forest fires. And that is, I think, because of a lot of this preventive maintenance. And we're kind of proud to say that some of our clients have relied on our data interpretation to be able to make sure that they are avoiding that way before it's happened. So I think that is a great lesson that Brazil has to share with Australia.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. Marco, I haven't handed over to you. What about yourself in terms of what you've seen with the way grids are managed and are developing around the globe? What do you think we could learn and take advantage of in Australia?
Well, I think, in my opinion, it will be the reverse. The European and the US utilities needs to learn about Australian utilities, because the distributed energy resource adoption is the big challenge at this moment, and Australia leads it. Australia has the national agencies and the trade organizations that foresighted enough years before to deliberate the process to make sure that the grid adapts to these changes, and the manner to do that, to minimize the costs to the consumers, to enable the deep decarbonization. So I think the other utilities could learn a lot about Australia. Of course, Australian utilities also then can learn something about the other utilities, because it's a small world in the energy infrastructure. So I think they could share some learns, but at this moment, I think the Australian utilities are far away, a step ahead from the other utilities.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marco. And we might leave this last incredibly quick panel here. So thank you very much for joining me up on stage, Renato, Carlo, Marco, Matthew, and Key. Thank you very much. Okay, so that has been an incredibly speedy introduction to the incredible startup cohort for 2022. I'm glad that everyone's got to meet them and understand more about the incredible technology and business models that they have to offer. So thank you very much to Daphne and their fantastic founders from our startup cohort that presented today. A big thank you to the people behind the scenes, the startup teams themselves, not just the founders and the CEOs, the people that sit behind it, for participating in our program too, our mentors, our investors, and the valuable time that they provide to our cohort during the program, to our partners for making this program possible, and thanks to the EnergyLab team. You haven't got to see them all today, but without them, this program would not occur. So while today marks the formal conclusion of the 2022 Scale-Up program, for the partners in the cohort, it does not stop here. They'll all continue working on the commercial opportunities that have been developed during the program for the coming months. So if you'd like to get in touch with startups, I've seen some questions around that in the chat. Please, we'll send out for everyone that's registered for today's showcase all of their details. But if that is not working for you, just get in touch with us. So hello@energylab.org.au. If you want to get more involved with EnergyLab and the clean energy and climate tech startup ecosystem, we are always looking for aspiring founders, for incredible startups, for mentors, for investors, and new partners to join our network. So please get in touch. Now at EnergyLab, we have a couple of, believe it or not, in real life events coming up in Melbourne and Sydney called Power Your Network. Both events are going to be held in October, and they're really going to focus on the importance of building strong networks in the climate tech ecosystem. We'll have a panel and also some chance for networking amongst all of our mentors, our startups, our corporate partners, our investors. So more details will come out on that. So you'll see them in our newsletter or on our socials. So at EnergyLab, we are continually energized. Like, I find it amazing, the high caliber of ideas, of technologies, of business models we see coming through this incredible ecosystem, which leaves me very optimistic. Even though there is a big journey ahead towards decarbonisation, there is a lot of work being done. So everyone, that is a wrap for today's session. Thank you so much all for joining us today. Hopefully this is just the start of the conversation with these incredible startups for many of you. Thank you.